Hello. Let me move my microphone a bit closer to my mouth. Right, as usual, I'm just going to wait for about 30 seconds just before I start actually talking, just to make sure that we are live. Good. I've just got back from the gym. I'm feeling pumped. I'm feeling tight, and I've got DOMs. But yes, everybody, my name is Brooks, and welcome back to MUFC MPB here on YouTube. Today, where we will be discussing Manchester United's game against Brighton on the weekend. This is, of course, a match preview, as you can tell by the title. We will be discussing a few things, mostly stuff from Erik ten Hag's press conference earlier today, talking about Sofyan Amrabat, Mason Mount, Sergio Reguilon, and a few quotes from Paul Merson, as well as ten Hag's disciplinary comments. We will finish with the predicted team, whether we think we are confident or not, and the score prediction. Hello, Matt Gummy, yo, from the US. Look, we're international already. Remember, guys, if you haven't already, I'm just going to start off by saying please hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't, make sure you hit the like, as well as sharing this on Twitter, Instagram, Bebo, MySpace, Facebook, House Party, even share it on Tinder and Hinge, anything you want. Make sure you get the word out there. But, of course, we will be starting off with comments from Erik ten Hag's press conference earlier today. Now, we're going to start off with the biggest news, I would say. We've been asking about this all week and really trying to wait for, a confirmation, I guess. But Sofyan Amrabat, according to Erik ten Hag, is not available to face Brighton tomorrow. It is tomorrow. It is a match against Brighton on Saturday. But I'm a bit upset. I was expecting to see Amrabat, to be honest, in the starting lineup, because he did come back from international duty as precaution. But it seems, according to Erik ten Hag, Amrabat, he came back, unfortunately, with the injury, so he will not be available for tomorrow. But I think on the short notice, yes, and I'm sure we will all get joy from them. So any sort of team prediction we have or confidence levels that we have going in to the Brighton game may or may not have taken a hit. Whether or not you like Sofyan Amrabat, whether or not you think he would have improved our team directly against the team from down south. I'm kind of annoyed, and I was thinking about this the other day. The last few players that we've signed have come in with injuries or get injured straight away. We just don't seem to have any luck when it comes. You've got Mason Mount, who got injured pretty much straight away. Kobe Mainoo was in a signing, but he was injured right before the start of the season. Rafael Varane is built like a prawn cracker. You've obviously got Sofyan Amrabat and Rasmus Højlund, who both came into Manchester United as a new signing, carrying injuries. It's not something that that we really want to be having to deal with, to be honest with you. And I'm not happy about it, because I really did expect to see Amrabat in the midfield alongside Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes tomorrow. It does mean that we will have a little bit less steel in the middle of the pitch, one less player who's able to, fly into challenges in a controlled manner. Someone who's not scared to get stuck in and just do the dirty work in the middle of the pitch. So he definitely will be a big miss for Manchester United tomorrow. But hopefully it doesn't affect the scoreline, or hopefully it doesn't mean that, Amrabat's not there so we don't get the win. I'm still relatively confident, mainly because we are playing at Old Trafford, actually. So, I'm just going to move this, because I do feel like I look at myself when I'm talking, and I am down here. So, it just means that we will be without one of our new signings. Hopefully, though, he does get minutes against Bayern, or hopefully he is available to even make the bench against Bayern Munich. But yes, good evening, Man United fan. I hope you guys are all doing well, everybody that is here. As I said, if you haven't already, make sure you do hit that subscribe button and leave a like on the video. There will be a couple of polls later on in this episode, so be ready for that. The polls do excite me. Not Polish people, but the polls that I do put on the stream for you guys to vote on. But I just want to get your thoughts as well. Do you think we will miss Amrabat tomorrow? Even though we haven't actually seen him play for Manchester United yet, do you think that him not being there will impact the team, impact the performance, change the way we play maybe? But yeah, Big news if you have just joined. Sofiane Amrabat is unavailable to face Brighton tomorrow, unfortunately. I would imagine that someone like Christian Eriksen, because he did, have a good game against Arsenal, he probably will just stay in the midfield. He did have obviously a very good international break as well, along with Rasmus Højlund. So it won't be like, we're putting in a youth player or someone who we don't actually want to play or someone who isn't good enough. Christian Eriksen is more than capable enough to play against a team like Brighton and to do very well in the game like in a game like we do have tomorrow. But we're just gonna move on and we're gonna talk about this a little bit later on. But we're gonna go to Sergio Reguilon, one of the other new signings. Now we do have a quote here from the same press conference. There is going to be a lot of quotes from the press conference today. Sergio Reguilon was spoken about by Erik ten Hag. He says, "I think so, yeah. We will see him soon. We are a little bit short on defenders, so he can come quickly." Now, as far as I'm aware, Reguilon isn't injured or he doesn't have an existing injury. And there haven't been any reports about him picking up an injury because obviously he didn't go on international duty with Spain over the break. He was at Carrington training with the other players who didn't make international squads. But Man United fan says, "I'm not worried about our midfield tomorrow, but at Munich I am worried." I don't know. I'm not worried. Look, I'm not worried about our midfield tomorrow. I'm just annoyed that the signings that we're making can't play straight away because we have this thing at Manchester United. You don't see it at other teams. You don't see it at City, Arsenal, Liverpool, literally any other team. But it doesn't matter who you are, unless your name is Cristiano Ronaldo or even Varane. When Manchester United sign a player, for whatever reason, they don't go straight into that squad. And I think it's a weird thing because in a sense it says the players that we're signing, maybe they're not good enough to play straight away. Maybe there has to be some adjustment period. But you wouldn't see that at Man City. You saw Jeremy Doku signed for Manchester City a few weeks ago, and he was in the first game. I believe he started. You've got Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal straight into the team. Declan Rice straight into the team. Timber straight into everybody that they sign. The first team players, they're going straight into the team to improve it and add something straight away. It's not a little bit of a cameo off the bench for the first 5 or 6 weeks. It's, yeah, you're good enough. You're going to play because that's why we bought you. We've brought you in to to either give competition to these players or go straight into the starting lineup. With Manchester United, it was Sancho. It took ages to start playing. I think Christian Eriksen went into the team straight away, but I'm not 100% sure. Rafael Varane didn't go into this team straight away. For some reason, we waited a game to unveil him. Even though it was, a good moment, it was a bit like, why have we waited? He could have been playing in the match, And I think that goes down to the mentality at Manchester United, which we will be speaking about later on with comments from Paul Merson. He's a pundit, ex-Arsenal player, English legend. I think he's right in what he says, but it does kind of annoy me. And I know Højlund was injured, and I know Amrabat was injured, but it's just frustrating. I'm frustrated when we sign these players. I want to see them play straight away. I don't want to have to wait 4 weeks or 3 weeks to see them play. Like, it's infuriating because if we have to wait to see them play, then what that tells me is that they're not good enough. They're not good enough to go straight into the team. Yeah, we can leave them on the bench. It's not that much of an issue. And I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I think it's a big problem. And I think silly points get dropped when certain players don't play. Even if a player has a good match, they might not play the next game because a senior player comes back. And I think it's all a bit of a mess. But of course, we're only 4 games into the season, and there's plenty of time to make up the ground that we've lost already. But I had a quote here. I've lost it, unfortunately. The page refreshed. Obviously, on Anthony, he won't be playing tomorrow as well. Ten Hag says, of course, he's disappointed, but he is okay. Disappointed in whatever's going on and the fact that he can't play. But I just do want to read out a comment that Ten Hag made on Brighton. It's typical we have 2 great games in spring against them, and we know we have to play tomorrow to our best because they will sacrifice and suffer because it gives you a lot of options. So really looking forward. And I think if people didn't already, or if people were reluctant before, De Zerbi has to get so much credit for what he's done at Brighton. Players like Solly March, Pascal Gross, two in particular that I really like. Not players that I would say, yeah, United go and sign them, but I do enjoy watching them, especially Solly March, because a couple of seasons ago, I think he might have been on his way out, or there were reports of him leaving. He definitely wasn't up to the standard of the Premier League, where I think he wanted to be. But in the last 18 months, he's really, really kicked on, and I think that has everything to do with Roberto De Zerbi, I think his name is. He's a master technician, and I think, who did I see talking about this the other day? I don't want to say the wrong name, so I'm not going to say the name, but I saw someone say the other day that one of the big teams, they were talking, including Manchester United as well. You're looking at Chelsea, Manchester United, maybe even Liverpool, but one of the big teams will get rid of a manager quite quickly this season and be going all out for De Zerbi, because look, he's a brilliant manager. In the short time that we've seen of him in the Premier League, all he's done is prove people wrong and just build and build and build. And maybe it's due to the fact that he's at Brighton. Regardless of how good they are right now, there aren't many expectations of them in terms of challenging for much. And I don't know how long this honeymoon period will last. And I'm calling it a honeymoon period because he might go to a bigger team. He might go to a bigger team and it might be a bit too much. Because I think this is what some people don't realise. When you're the manager of a top 6 team, you're expected to be challenging for the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Champions League or Europa League, wherever you find yourself. But when you're at a team like Brighton, who historically haven't really won anything, and definitely in recent years haven't really been close to winning anything, I think literally just winning 5 games in a row is it's an uproar. You're revolutionising the club. You're doing blah blah blah. You're doing all of this, and I think it's working perfectly for him. And I think it might be the perfect club for him to build his repertoire and build his reputation and his status in the Premier League. Sorry, I'm just gonna bring my chair up a little bit. I can't. I think that's the highest it goes. Gosh, but I think when you're at a team like Brighton, as I was saying, there isn't any pressure on you. So when the players like Matoma, Solly March, Pascal Gross, Caicedo, Lewis Dunk, Webster, Estepinian especially, I forgot about him. It's like they're overperforming because that's the mentality. Like, they've got nothing to lose. Like, if they lose, it's, oh, well, it's Brighton. But if they win, it's like, wow, like, they played a really good game. Like, they're expansive. They put you under pressure. And when they're on the ball as well, gosh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I do want to give credit to Lewis Dunk as well. I know he's been there for a very long time, and he's an established Premier League centre-back, but it's like under De Zerbi as well, the player improvement that they have is second to none. And I think nowadays there's definitely a lot of talk of, it's just about the system, he's a system player, blah, blah. Nah, if you're a good footballer, you're a very good footballer and you can play in any system. And I think that's the bottom line, because however many years ago you had all these world-class players like Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Every team he went to, it would have been different systems, but he adjusted and he adapted and he just carried on doing what he was doing. That's why he's considered one of the best strikers in history. And I think nowadays everything is so tactical and so technical, and it's, when you get the ball, it's not straight drive in and beat the defender. It's, what's the less risky option to do? How can I retain the ball better? How can I keep that stat high, the possessions? I think there's so much emphasis on that when a manager like De Zerbi comes in and kind of just like rips up the rule book and takes bits from Pep Guardiola and take bits from other managers and then just basically beats everyone, I think it's a bit of fresh air. And that's why I go back to the point of whatever manager gets sacked first from a big team, they're 100% going to be going all out for De Zerbi, because they know at Brighton, this, in a sense, there isn't a ceiling because they're almost an unknown entity, but at the same time, they're not going to be challenging for the trophies, and that's just a sad fact for them. They can, be in Europe. I think they're in the Europa League this season, but I doubt they'll win it because of the quality of the other European teams. But yeah, big team will definitely be going in for Roberto De Zerbi as soon as they get rid of the manager. But whew, I've just seen something here which I forgot about, and it's tiny section on Jadon Sancho because we have been speaking about him a lot this week. But I will first read the comments in the comments down below. Spencer says, it's a shame about Amrabat. Yeah, it's a real shame. I was really excited to see him play against Brighton because I know that it's going to be a difficult match. And as I said, I'm annoyed that another player has come in and isn't available for selection straight away. Spencer also says, hopefully Ten Hag is doing his fake news thing and he will be playing. I doubt it. In this situation, I doubt it. I mean, I hope so. It would be nice. But I don't think we're going to... Well, I definitely don't think we're going to be seeing Sofiane Amrabat playing in the midfield against Brighton tomorrow. Stefan Tanakovic says, hi, Brooks, at least Martinez is available, which means no Maguire, luckily, thank God. And I'm not saying that because Maguire's terrible, because I do think he's a good player. I just don't think he works well alongside Lisandro Martinez, because I think Martinez is our first-choice centre-back over everything. I think I said Varane yesterday, but I had time to think about it, and it definitely is Martinez. But Martinez and Lindelof, I think, are a very good defensive partnership. Wan-Bissaka as well, I believe, probably will play at right back. I think he's the starting right back at the moment. And left back's going to be an interesting one, but we will talk about that later on when we get to the predicted lineup stage of the episode. But yeah, Martinez and Lindelof, I believe, will be the two defenders starting against Brighton tomorrow. Mason Mount available. I mean, Mason Mount isn't available for... Wait, no. I need to get this right. I cannot remember for the life of me if he's available. Let me just search out quick. Okay. Ten Hag confirms Mason Mount and Raphael Varane will not be available to face Brighton. So Mason Mount obviously isn't back from his injury. Whether or not he's available for the match against Bayern Munich is a different question. Again, we'll just have to wait for the press conference for that. Or some sort of leak via a journalist to confirm that. But yes, unfortunately, Mason Mount isn't available for the match against Brighton tomorrow, which means it does look like Facundo Pellistri will be battling against Alejandro Garnacho for the right wing spot tomorrow. And obviously that will have been finalised or decided this week in training, but also we don't know until an hour before the game tomorrow, hopefully. But at the moment, it's not looking good. Our unavailable players at the moment are Tom Heaton, Luke Shaw, Tyrell Malacia, Raphael Varane, Mason Mount, Kobbie Mainoo, Amad Diallo, Anthony and Jadon Sancho. Sofiane Amrabat and Lisandro Martinez's fitness levels for Brighton are unknown. Now we know that Amrabat is unavailable and Lisandro Martinez should be available. But do you think Mason Mount will be a big miss against Brighton tomorrow, given how good he is and given what he can bring to the team? Let me know in the comment section down below. Man United fan, I don't know why Southgate doesn't start Dunk over Maguire, but because Maguire's a favourite of Southgate, that's just the simple reason why. Because Lewis Dunk is better, I believe. Look, I wouldn't sign him for Manchester United and start him as a starting centre back, but I would have him over Harry Maguire. I think if they swap teams, it would work wonderfully, because then you have there in Dunk someone who, I think he'd understand. Yes, I'm probably the third choice centre back here. I'm going to play a lot of games, but I'm not going to start every week. Whereas if Harry Maguire, say went to Brighton, I think Brighton would be a brilliant team for Maguire. If he went there, he'd start. He'd start pretty much every match, and I think he'd be comfortable. There would be way less pressure on him eventually. I think initially all eyes will be on him because it will be like, oh, can he do it at Brighton? He didn't do it at Manchester United. Is he good enough for Brighton? But I think once people realise that, yeah, he's definitely more than good enough to play for Brighton, I think the pressure will be off him and he'll start enjoying his football a lot more. And in turn, he will get better. His confidence will increase. And when you play with confidence, you do play better. Spencer says, I think they said by the Bayern game for Mason Mount, not yet versus Brighton, I'm presuming. And Stefan says Chris Smalling is better than Maguire. 100%. He's always been better than Maguire. And I don't understand why we sold Chris Smalling. I still don't understand why we sold him. Ash, hello Ash, fellow MUFC presenter. Hey Anton, we getting that win tomorrow. Hoyland Old Trafford debut, exciting. Listen, I am one of those Manchester United fans who, unless we're going into a game against... Do you know what? Honestly, it doesn't matter who we play against. I've always, Listen, if we play against, Luton at Kenilworth Road or Old Trafford, I'm expecting everything. I'm expecting 4 or 5 goals, a clean sheet, brilliant performances from at least 9 of the players. I'm expecting a good, easy win. When we play against Manchester City, for example, at the Etihad or Old Trafford, I'm still expecting to win. We've done it. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was here, he beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season, and I think the only other manager to do that is Jurgen Klopp. We do beat the big teams. I think Liverpool's the only team we really struggle against. We play against Man City, we beat them, and when we play against them the next time, I go into that match thinking, I think we can do this. I think we can win. However, if we lose, I'm like, okay, they're the better team. I'm upset, but I can accept it. But I'm one of those United fans. I'm always optimistic, but at the same time, I'm realistic. I do believe we will get the win tomorrow, mainly because it's at Old Trafford and we do have quite a decent record at home, especially in the league. Even if it was at the Amex, the American Express Stadium, if you want to call it that, I still believe we'd win or at least get a draw. I wouldn't accept a loss. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Højlund, Old Trafford. If Højlund doesn't start, I think we're missing a trick here. I think he has to start. His energy from the beginning to... I don't know if I can do it here, but Brighton, the 2 centre-backs here and the 2 centre midfielders, they play like... There's always a square. There's always a square around the ball. If Chris Dunk has the ball here, there's always the other 3 players, and that's how they're able to keep the ball so well. But I think with the midfield that we have, with Pellistri, Højlund and Rashford, Fernandes, Casemiro, not so much Eriksen, I do believe we'll be able to deal with the press well. And I mean press well, sorry. I don't think Brighton will have the majority of possession. I do believe it will be us. However, I do think that our goals will come from counter-attacks, given the speed that we have on the break. And how that's going to work in my head is keep the ball. Brighton might win it back. We might have a shot. They might have the ball for a little bit. We drop a little bit, soak up the pressure. Casemiro slides into a tackle. Now Wan-Bissaka has the ball straight down the line or straight in the middle to Fernandes. When the ball's on the way to Fernandes, it's a trigger for Rashford to go. Højlund to make his decision. Is he going to drop deep, collect the ball, play off Fernandes or whatever? And Pellistri, it's his turn to go as well. I think that's how we're going to score. Good ball through, good ball over, good ball to feet. Our wingers are able to beat the defenders one-on-one and ball into Højlund. Capiche? I think that's how it's going to go, to be honest with you. Ash says, yeah, every game I'm expecting 3 goals minimum. Never change. Alright, listen. Do you see where I said I'm realistic, Ash? This is what I'm talking about. We do score goals, but we just don't really score a lot of goals. We rarely have like Arsenal will go and score 6. City will go and score a 55 in a game. Liverpool will score loads. Tottenham. Manchester United don't. And it's always been like that. And I don't understand why. Because, well, no, I do understand why. But I can't understand why it's still the same. Because we always have a player that gets 20 goals or 25 goals plus a season in all competitions. We always have that. At the moment, it's Rashford. I'm hoping that Højlund is going to add to that and be another player that gets 20 eventually. Obviously not this season, but he's going to be a player that gets 25, 30 goals in all competitions. I really, really do hope that one of the wingers that we have will be able to contribute significantly to the goals. Before, he was dropping a little bit deeper. It was Bruno Fernandes as well. But other than 3 or 4 players, we don't get goals or a lot of goals from many other positions. And obviously, it does mean that, maybe subconsciously we rely on players like Rashford and Fernandes to get the goals. But at other teams, like City, for example, you have Haaland. Yeah, he scores 50-something goals a season. But then you have Foden as well. Last season you had Gundogan. You always have Kevin De Bruyne. Before that they had Sane, Raheem Sterling. Cancelo chips in with the goals. Rodri is a scorer of very big and very good goals as well. Like even though their players will score 20 plus goals, many of them a season, it's 4 or 5 or 6 players that add up their goal tally to. It's always going to be 110 plus, isn't it? Whereas Manchester United struggle to get to that. So I do expect 3 goals 3 goals a game minimum because of the quality that we have on the pitch, because of the style of football we play, but we are just extremely wasteful. The amount of big chances that Fernandes creates alone, we should be joking way more. Stefan says, to be fair there, it's always tough to play against Brighton, but right now might be the best time. Brighton haven't kept a clean sheet yet this season and have looked more vulnerable defensively. Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad you pointed that out as well, because I've been noticing that a lot of the teams, Arsenal, City, every team has been struggling to keep clean sheets. And whether that's down to the bigger teams not, resting on their laurels, or it's the lesser teams getting way better, because now in the Premier League, nowadays, you've got West Ham signed Lucas Paqueta last season. Who was another big player that went to a smaller team? Couldn't tell you. Can't remember. I'm not going to dwell on that for too long. But the smaller teams, they have bigger budgets. They have, the more availability to spend big wages on players, and the attraction of playing in the Premier League, which in my opinion is the most competitive league in the world and the best league in the world, the best viewership, the most money, everything about the Premier League is just elevated and it's better than the other leagues in Europe. I think the lesser teams have just improved so much that they're able to actually threaten and attack and damage the bigger teams. So I wouldn't say Brighton have been worse. I just think that other teams have been better, whereas we kind of haven't. So it's an interesting one. Big Ron, Ash, you're looking a bit different. You shaved your beard. Lol, just joking. Big up Anton, big the chat. Happy Friday, everyone. Yes, definitely big up myself, big up Ash, and big up Anil. If you guys didn't already, make sure you go back and watch Anil's stream from Tuesday, I believe it was. It was his first stream on MUFC MPB, and he did give some brilliant insight into Manchester United. Of course, he does have some past experience talking in front of a microphone. He's been on TalkSport, I think, most notably. So definitely go and give that a watch. Or if you can't be bothered, or if you don't have the time, make sure you are there next Tuesday at 7 o'clock for his next show. And also make sure you go and watch Ash as well. He is one of the other presenters on this channel, as well as myself and Anil. But Big Ron also says the United reputation is goals and beating most teams on the reg. If you actually United, we ain't that team no more. And we aren't. It's really unfortunate because obviously, my age, I was lucky enough to grow up exclusively watching Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. My golden era was, Ronaldo, Rooney, Tevez, Berbatov, Park, Carrick, Fletcher, Giggs, Scholes, Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, Raphael, Gary Neville, Van der Sar. Just name all of the players, the regular starters. I think it's nowadays, because of that, we were so spoiled and so lucky. We won everything. I've seen Manchester United win everything regularly, and now we're not. And now I'm watching Liverpool do it, and I'm watching City do it. And me personally, I'm from London. I'm from Southwest London. I come from Wimbledon. My local team is AFC Wimbledon. Been to a few of their matches. My friends have season tickets there. But my brother, I have an older brother, and he supports Arsenal. If you have an older brother or a sibling, you know that it's a sibling rivalry. So I hate Liverpool. I'll never hate another team more than Liverpool. But Arsenal, for me, I can't deal with the fact that they're as good as they are. I can't deal with the fact that they're better than us. And I also can't deal with the fact that they almost won the league last year. I think Manchester City, look, I know they've won the treble, and I care about them now. But before that, couldn't care less about Manchester City because of the way they got to the place they're at. But I'm dying. I'm desperate. I'm on my knees crying, throwing up for Manchester United to get back. I just want to win something big. I want to win when I say big, I mean the Premier League or the Champions League. I just want to win something big. And I believe we have more chance of winning, say, the Champions League than the Premier League this season. But I need it. I need it. It's been too long, and I'm running out of things to say. I'm starting to lose arguments basically against these Arsenal and Liverpool and City fans, and I'm not looking forward to it that much if we have to go for another big trophyless season. Man United fan says Rashford and Højlund to score. That's against Brighton, but save that all for later, because there will be a couple of questions on your predictions in about 15 minutes. Tony Bravo, hello. He says, we have too many players that have higher expected goals than actual goals. Ericsson, Fernandez, Anthony, meaning we need to be more clinical. Definitely. We as a team are extremely wasteful. I think we're greedy in the wrong areas. We're selfless in the wrong areas. Stuff just isn't clicking. It's not doing this. It's doing like this or this. Like there have been times where I've seen Anthony, in a good position to really, honestly, pass the ball across, but it's a shot. There was a game against, I believe it was either Sociedad or Betis. It was one of the best moves I've seen us have under Erik ten Hag. All Anthony had to do was pass it back across because the goalkeeper had already committed and showing him the chip over the top, to score a chip. And he chipped it over the bar. I know someone will know what I'm talking about, but he could have just passed it across, and it's little things like that because at City, you pass it across, it gets passed across. At Liverpool, it gets passed across. Arsenal, it gets passed across. All of these other teams, look, I'm talking about Europe now. Munich, it gets passed across. Barca, Bayern, Napoli, Inter, AC Milan, PSG. All of the big teams that genuinely have a chance of, winning the Champions League or winning their domestic competition this season, they're so clinical, and that's the difference between us and them. And I think once we understand, and I don't know, maybe it's a confidence thing or maybe it's a I'm him thing, but we need to sort it out. And you're definitely right, Tony. I say, honestly, Anthony's probably the worst, the most wasteful. His end product hasn't really been up to scratch since he came. And I'm hoping that when he does come back, or if he does come back, then it does improve, because the amount of points that we drop and the amount of wins that we don't get, or just anything, it's infuriating to see, because I can see it on the TV, and I know they can see it, but I think I can score this, but just put the ball in the best place that a goal can be scored. I think I'm going to try and explain this, but it's like, I think a lot of players are too focused on their own personal stats. Like, they want to get to the 20 goals, but what I don't think they realise is you'll get to the 20 goals if you're selfless. If you pass it across to, I don't know, to Højlund when you're one-on-one, just pass it across, give him an easy tap-in. Eventually, that same pass will come back to you, because someone's going to think, oh yeah, he passed it across last time. I know football shouldn't work like that, but it does. It's human. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. If we're both clean through on goal 4 times, and I'm waiting for the pass to come through, and you shoot and miss 4 times, when it's my turn, whether or not I want to admit it, I'm going to shoot. And if I score, I score. If I don't, and you say, oh, why didn't you pass? I've played football before. It's happened. I see it happen. I've experienced it. When you don't pass that ball across, and then the other guy that hasn't done it 10 times in a row says to you, oh, like, why are you not? You're going to say straight back to them, oh, bro, shut up 10 minutes ago, blah, 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 you did. And it just goes round and round and round. And I think selflessness is the key for success when it comes to football. Pass that ball across. Help your teammate out. Help them score easy goals. Because also as well, when Manchester United do score goals, a lot of the goals, they're worldies and they're long shots and they're almost chance goals. Look at Man City. Manchester City don't score a lot of worldy goals like long shots or 40-yard screamers. A lot of it is just a little cross to the back post and a simple header in for Haaland, or a simple ball played through so we can take it first time. And those are a lot of the goals that they score. And it's not a coincidence that the teams that score those types of goals a lot are the teams that win stuff, are the teams that are top of the league or higher up in the league or going far in competitions. If your highlight reel, if Manchester United score 50 goals in a season and 25 of them or 26 of them are outside the box shots or pop shots or chance goals or low XG or whatever, I still don't really understand XG, so I don't know if that's right. But if a lot of those goals are the types of goals you score, there's a problem. There's a problem there, because it shows that you're not able to work through the lines. You're not able to create opportunities that are very, very simple to score from. It shows that the only way that you think you can score is just by catching the keeper out or taking a long shot or hoping for a little deflection. And that's the problem. And that's a very, very big problem. And I think that's why we don't score a lot of goals, because of that. And I think until we improve that, we're not going to get anywhere. But Big Ron says the caliber of coaches has improved the league. Teams like Villa have Emery in charge. Yeah, definitely. The lesser teams are definitely getting better. And I think that the lesser teams, for whatever reason, are able to find these really good managers from anywhere. I never heard of Roberto De Zerbi before he came to Brighton, and now he's one of the top 5 managers in the league, in my opinion. Spencer says, has anyone seen if Evan Ferguson is still ruled out? I haven't seen, but I will check now because their press conference would have definitely been done by now. Evan Ferguson injury update. This is reported in the Manchester Evening News. Brighton and Hove Albion manager Robert De Zerbi has admitted he is waiting until the last minute to see if Evan Ferguson will be fit to face Manchester United. So we don't know yet. I guess he doesn't know yet. I guess all that says is yes, he's fit enough to even be left until the last minute, but there is a chance that they don't want to risk it and give him a long-term injury just to play against us. So I think when you wait until the last minute, we probably will see him, even if it's just for a little bit tomorrow. But I wouldn't count on it. Mo Hamza Zain says, challenging game tomorrow, but fingers crossed. Yeah, definitely it's going to be a challenging game. I think now, well, for me at the start of the season, and when the fixtures came out, I looked for Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea. Didn't really look for Spurs, but I was looking for Brighton because they are a good team. And they do play good football. It's always a good match, isn't it? Whether or not we win or lose. RJ Games 33 says, as a United fan through and through, it's a real shame we have to live through this Glazer era. They have created this issue and yet they complain that they want more money. Wrong owner and structure. It is a shame. It honestly is a shame because we're seeing what good ownership can do to other teams. We're seeing what good ownership can bring in terms of success, in terms of clarity and transparency from top to bottom. We just don't have that. As United fans, even when a report comes out, it's just, we're thinking it's rubbish, isn't it? This is a lie. Like it's not even the truth anymore. We don't know. Other teams, something gets put out and they can believe it because it comes from the top. It comes from the owner. With us, we don't know if it's media spin. We don't know if it's just a lie. We don't know if it's the truth. The club was meant to be sold months ago, but apparently now it's been taken off the market. We don't know if that's true. Like, it's just a big mess. Nothing is clear, and I think that's the biggest problem. Clouds create thunderstorms, and I think there's a massive storm at Manchester United right now, and I don't know when the clouds are going to clear because there just seems to be no light at the end of that tunnel. There's not even a little bit of sunshine peeking through. It's a shame, but when that sunshine does come through, because it will, we're going to be back. And when Manchester United are a sleeping giant, I think we're in hibernation right now. Everybody in the world knows who Manchester United are. Everybody in the world knows who Manchester United have been. Everybody in the world knows what we are right now and how far we are away from getting back to where we think we should be and where we think we deserve to be. But the truth of the matter is, because of what's been happening over the past however long, since Sir Alex Ferguson came in, we don't deserve to be anywhere. If anything, we're lucky to be where we are right now because of how poor it is. I think it's such a shame. It is annoying, but we've lived with it, and we don't have a choice. We're gonna have to live with it, but hopefully it's over soon. Big Ron says fake news. Ferguson will start. I hope he doesn't start, to be honest, because it will be an issue if he does. Tony says, yeah, Ferguson will probably play. I think it's mind games from De Zerbi. Stefan then goes on to say, I think he will start since they don't have many options up front with Welbeck injured and Joao Pedro being used in the number 10 role. Don't they have Undav? I'm going to check. The German striker who they signed from Belgium last season, I believe. Let me just check their squad. Because they do have a... Ferguson isn't their only striker. They don't have Undav. Oh. Yeah, so their own... I don't know. I'm looking on FotMob right now, and... Oh, they have Ansu Fati as well, innit? And it doesn't say that Danny Welbeck is injured, so he might be back. I don't know. But yeah, I thought they had Undav. They must have sold him, so that's my bad. That's my mistake. But this is the bit of the show that I've been looking forward to. I would like all you guys, or as many of you guys that can possibly do it, to write down your predicted starting lineup tomorrow. It should be pretty straightforward, but the left back position might be up for debate. It's one of the centre mids and the right winger position might be up for debate. But I'm gonna write mine in the chat at the same time, just so I can be involved. I'm gonna go with Andre Onana in goal, Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back with Lindelof and Martinez in the centre back positions. But I'm also gonna go with Dalot because he did have a good game against Arsenal. And obviously he's been here a long time. He understands the style of player. I think it might just be a better fit for him to start. But obviously I'm going to have Casemiro starting in the deepest midfield role alongside Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes. Then on the right, what I think will happen is that he will start Garnacho on the right with Højlund up front and then of course Rashford on the left. Now, the team that I've put in the chat there, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Martinez, Dalot, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Garnacho, Højlund and Rashford. That's the team that I think Erik ten Hag will field tomorrow to start against Brighton. But that's not the team I would like to start against Brighton. I'd take out Garnacho and I'd start Pellistri. But I'd also take out Dalot and I'd put in Reguilon. Mainly because I wouldn't, sorry. Solly March is left-footed. And he does like to cut in. Let me just double check that. Solly... What? Oh. Yes. So Solly March on the right is a left-footed right winger. So he will cut in a lot. And I think having Dalot in the left back position, obviously it's not his natural position, but he can perform there, and he has performed there a few times for us very well. I think being able to defend against Solly March on his stronger foot will be an advantage. So I do believe that Dalot will start. My chair is literally breaking right now. By the way, the screw is coming out from underneath me. That's not good, is it? Sorry guys for this issue here, but I don't want my chair to break. Right underneath me. But yes, that's the lineup I think that Erik ten Hag will start. However, I did say that's not the lineup I would like to start. I would swap Garnacho for Facundo Pellistri on the right wing. Sosa said... Okay, Stefan says he went to Stuttgart. Oh, Undav went to Stuttgart. Sosa World Peace. I remember you. I remember your name from last year. Anton, what's good? I'm very good. Just got back from the gym. I'm feeling big. I've got a holiday booked for... I'm going on holiday by myself in February to Tunisia, which is in North Africa. And I'm currently back in the gym training so I can look nice and, I'm looking sexy next to the pool, innit? I want to be big. I've already been big, but I lost a lot of weight because I wanted to. But I'm back on it now and I'm feeling good. But yes, I'm very good. Thank you very much. How are you doing? Stefan also says they could play Fatty, but De Zerbi stated that he doesn't want to rush him and give him time to adapt. But again, it could be mind games. He could be telling the truth, but if they don't have an actual striker, they might have to play him up front. He could have his hand forced. United fan says Reguilon, he is good with crosses, and that's what Højlund needs. True, very true. Look, I wouldn't be annoyed if Reguilon started. I wouldn't be annoyed if Dalot started. I think having that sort of a headache is a good choice, is a good thing. Whoever starts, I think they'll play very well, and I think they'll do a good job. I think what a lot of people need to realise about Reguilon is that he's not rubbish. He's actually quite good, and he was quite good at Tottenham, and then the next manager came in, I think it was Conte, and he just didn't play very well. I just don't think he was one of Conte's favourites. I don't think Conte liked what he was offering to the team in his specific system. But Reguilon is a very good footballer. He's a very good left back. I'm losing my words here, but on the ball, he's he's what's the right word? Not silky. He's very adept and cool on the ball. He's a nice left foot, nice cross, good crosses into the box. Spencer says, I think same team, Palacio is sub. Adam going to watch final score. Agree with your lineup. Such a massive week for us. Yes, we got Brighton on the weekend, and then we've got Bayern Munich, I believe, on Tuesday in the Champions League for our first match of the group stage at the Allianz Arena. So it's going to be a very, very tough week. Yes, definitely, Adam. Man United fan says, Onana, Bissaka, Martinez, Lindelof, Reguilon, Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno, Palacio, Højlund, and Rashford. That either one of those teams, very good. I'm not worried, to be honest. Sosa says... sorry, I saw another comment. Sosa says, Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Lindelof. Varane's out injured still, so he's not available for selection. Reguilon, Casemiro, McTominay. Why did I completely forget about McTominay? He did have a good international break. Casemiro, McTominay, Bruno, Højlund, Rashford, Martial. If that was the front three, who's playing where? And hope you got rid of the Palace top. I still have this. Literally just finished drying in the dryer now. I was gonna wear it today, but I thought nah. Come to Kenya on holiday. You know what? I thought holidays were way more expensive than they actually are, so I'd avoided even looking. But they're not expensive in the slightest. So I will be going away to a lot of places, hopefully next year or as soon as possible. But my first holiday will be in February to Tunisia. I do want to visit Africa. You know, those are the roots for me personally, and I think it would be good to experience something like that. So I definitely will. I could have gone to Kenya years ago with my school, but I didn't want to because we would have had to do work, and I didn't like a lot of the people that are going. So Stefan says, bit off topic, but being that the Turkish transfer window is closing tonight and DVB has been registered in our squad for the Premier League and Cup squads, do you think he will have a role to play until January? Probably not. Probably won't see him many times. We'll probably see him closer to January to, you know, put himself in that sort of transfer market shopping window. But nah, I don't think anytime soon. Adam says, I watched the Leicester vs Man United game when we were winning 3-1 at half time and we lost 3-5. It was on Sky Sports yesterday. 5-3, 5-3. That was the game where Di Maria scored that lob, wasn't it? You know, it was a good half of a match. I remember that. Martial at 9, Rasmus on the right. Nah, I can't see that. I can't see Højlund playing right wing. I've never seen it. I don't know if he even can. Obviously, he can play there. He's a footballer, but I wouldn't put him there. I think if you were going to play those front three, you'd have to play Rashford on the right, unfortunately, Martial on the left, and Højlund up front. But I don't think you'd ever see those three in the same team together. I'm not going to lie, especially starting. I can't see that happening. But we are, unfortunately, coming to the end of the show. I'm going to put a poll in the chat if I can find out where to. Going to put a poll in the chat. And what? Oh, wrong button. Are you confident? Are you confident? Right, guys. Whilst this poll is up, and before I ask my last question to you guys watching, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. Let me just see how many subscribers we are on right now. Because I do believe it has gone up since yesterday, which obviously I am very, very happy about. Let me just go on the analytics. It's gone up again. Congratulations, guys. We are currently on 1,385 subscribers. If you haven't already, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We want to try and get to 1,400 as quickly as possible. Get that little milestone out of the way and move on to the next one. and it will help the channel. It will help the algorithm. It will help us reach out to more people, get more viewers, get more people in the community talking, help you guys build some relationships. Get excited seeing the same names in the chat every time you watch. I think that's something that we should try and do here. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you do hit that like button, as well as following at MUFC MPB over on Twitter for all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, as well as gossip, leaks, statements from the club as soon as they come out. Make sure you do follow there, because it is one of the best pages on Twitter for Manchester United breaking news. Also, if you would like, follow myself on Twitter, as well as Ash, Meppers and Anil. All of our Twitter handles will be in the description down below for you to go and follow if you want to keep up to date with us and what we're doing, in our lives. And then come along, follow. I promise you won't regret it. But me, personally, I am confident for the game against Brighton tomorrow. I do believe we'll get the win. I think it's going to be a close game, but I think there will be a few goals. I think there will be 5 goals, and I think it's going to be 3-2 to Manchester United. But I do want to get your opinions. I do want to know what you think. What do you think the score prediction will be? I think it's going to be 3-2 to Manchester United. Haaland will score on his full debut. Rashford will get 2. I think Matoma will get 1 for them, and João Pedro will get the other. However, I don't think we will be behind at any point in the match. So 3-2 win to Manchester United. Haaland 1, Rashford 2, Matoma and João Pedro getting 1 each for the Seagulls, is it Seagulls? I believe. Let me know your score prediction in the comment section down below. But I just will read the last few comments before I do wrap up the stream. Sosa says, Adam Calvert says, Di Maria, he didn't last long, did he? He didn't last long, but I was a fan of him when he was here. Sosa, Martial is not as mobile as he used to be. He can't really play on the wing anymore. True. Tony, the only reason I'm confident is because we're at home. Agreed. Stefan says, good show, Anton. Keep up the good work. Thank you, lot. I really appreciate that. I really, honestly, do appreciate you guys coming back and watching when I'm live. I do remember all of your names. And I will remember when I've got 20 million in the bank. I will remember you guys. So keep coming. Tony Bravo says 2-1 Manchester United Haaland brace. As long as we win and as long as Haaland scores, I don't care. Oh, sorry. Let me just tell you guys one more thing. FPL. I did put a player in for this weekend who goes by the name of, I feel like this is gonna bug out my camera, Is that? Can you see it? Well, if you couldn't see it, I did transfer in Rasmus Højlund up front alongside Isak, Erling Haaland. Let me just go for my team. I've got Ederson in goal, Udogi, Gusto and Saliba at the back, Mbeumo, Saka, Rashford and Sterling in the middle, with Haaland, Isak and Højlund up front. On the bench, I've got Leno, Matoma, Wan-Bissaka and Estupinian. Bench full of Brighton and United players because I have no idea how it's going to go. And I do have one defender from each team there. Sorry. But yeah. Last comment here from Stefan. Potential to be a PL Classic in... I actually can't see because it's getting blocked by everything. In my opinion, 4-2 United. Højlund hat-trick. Højlund hat-trick. United fan says Anana needs a clean sheet tomorrow. United 3-0. Look, I'm confident, but you guys are more confident than me. But I do like the positivity, and I do think that's a very good way to end the show. We got 2-1 from Tony, 4-2 from Stefan, and a 3-0 from Man United fan, and a 3-2 to myself. I believe Højlund will score regardless of what the scoreline is, as long as we do get a win. I believe in Manchester United. GGMU. Remember, if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well as the like. Make sure you do follow at MUFCMPB on Twitter for all the latest Manchester United transfer news and news, gossip, leaks and statements from the club as soon as they come out. Make sure you do follow me, myself, Ash Meppers and Anil. All of our Twitter handles will be in the description down below. But I will be saying, goodbye until Sunday, because that is when I am next live. And I hope you have a good weekend, guys. Thank you very much.